Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Integrity IPG podcast. I am one of two co-hosts, Jordan Pollock. Joined with me once again, Dylan Webkenberg, CFP, should I say. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing well. So today's episode, we will be talking about money conversations every couple should have.
Yeah.
So really just centered around not just individually each conversation, but just important things to think about once you get into a relationship or engaged or married. What are some of the things you guys should be planning together?
Yeah, because obviously personal financial planning is important. Obviously, it's one huge thing that we do. But then it's like when you start a relationship with somebody else, then we're now together. So how can we discuss our own personal finances as one almost?
Yeah.
I think that like above and beyond anything that we're going to talk about in this episode, the most important thing to do in this area is to actually have like a conversation about your finances and your money with your partner. So many people, I feel like, are just too afraid of doing it for any number of reasons, or they're just set in their ways as one of us is the saver, the other one might be the spender, and never the two shall meet, because that's just kind of how we do things. And that's like it's to the detriment of your relationship and to the couple, because money's an important thing to know about, be knowledgeable about, and especially when you're in a relationship with someone. It's just an important thing to at least have the conversation in general. And then what you actually talk about, that's what we're going to make suggestions on in this episode.
Yeah, and you hear picking your life partner is the biggest and most important decision of your life. But that's true for financially too.
Yeah.
That's the biggest financial decision you'll ever make as well.
Right.
So like you said, being able to know and understand how they work when it comes to different financial, situations, problems, and the way they cope with things is just as important as anything else.
Yeah, right. So why do you think, like specifically you, why do you think couples and partners tend to, in general, avoid talking about money or, having that conversation?
Yeah, I think it's partly with what you said. People, when it comes to talking about money, people tense up and they put up this shield or wall because it's almost like they have this secret about them that they don't want people to kind of open up and look into, which is like the opposite of, and we agree on this, it's like the opposite of what things should be. Because the moment that you do open up with your partner, it's like, now we can see where we are and see where we want to go. And, these are the things we have to do that. But like the moment you shield yourself off and you can't, you limit yourself to what you can do. And I might have gone off topic a little bit with your question,
that makes perfect sense.
I think it genuinely just is, when it comes to money, people don't like talking about that stuff.
Yeah, right.
Which is not how it should be, because it's important.
Especially people don't like talking about it if they themselves feel like they're behind or like they're not good enough at this area of life. That's just another reason why they might not want to entertain that kind of conversation.
You open that door and people are worried, well, this person might think of me differently because they see what I spend my money on and but like everybody has different priorities and things they value in life, and who's one to judge another person based off the money they spend on things. That's just who you are as a person. So
if you were to like get into a relationship with someone and like you fall in love with them for who they are, not for like the amount of money or whatever they have, as it should be, then down the road you find out that they have like $100,000 in student loans or like that much in credit card debt. Not a good thing, obviously. You still love them because that's how you fell in love with them, not the money side of things. But this is an important part of who they are that the partner should be aware of. And it does far more damage to avoid that conversation, that tough conversation, and kick the can down the curb and then ultimately have to deal with it when, stuff hits the fan. Yeah. That's a way bigger deal than just putting your cards on the table at the beginning and saying, okay, I have this thing going on.
Yeah.
Like, that's a tough conversation to have, but it's a lot tougher of a conversation or problem to deal with if you just keep delaying it and putting it down the road.
Yeah, it's a good, like, student debt is a good debt because it's helping you build towards a career and bettering yourself. but it is a problem because it's something that you need to solve or come up with a solution to answer. But it's like every other, like when you're in a relationship, success in a relationship is based off how you guys deal with problems and problem solving, which is the same thing. It's no different when it comes to financial situations or issues. It's, again, you have to work together to come up with solutions, and that's how a relationship is successful financially and not financially. They go hand in hand. So
compromise in all aspects of it. Yeah.
I would ask you this: what does, when it comes to two people, somebody having a life partner, what does financial success look to you when it comes to that?
That's a great question. And it does, of course, depend on each individual person. But for myself, a successful financial plan, or to reach financial success with my partner, would, first and foremost, it would mean that we had that conversation of, here's who I am and this is what my financial plan looks like. And then she would tell me the same thing about hers. And then, so yeah, having that conversation is the first part of financial success for me. And then the next step would be, okay, well, if we're different, let's recognize these differences and then come to a compromise on how we can both continue to do what we've been doing and, just staying true to who we are, while also recognizing we're not alone anymore. We're in a relationship with someone, so we have to assist them in that way as well. So just having the conversation and then actually implementing some changes if need be, if there are some differences between you and your partner.
It's like every other part of a relationship. There's give or take here and there.
Exactly, yeah.
So two people, I mean, everyone has goals of where they want to be. So it's finding that good middle ground of, where can we align our goals for the future and come up with a plan that mutually benefits both of us.
And it will be different for everyone. Like there isn't even, there's not a never and an always type of answer for this kind of thing. Like one family, one relationship might realize that having separate bank accounts is the right way to do it because that just makes sense for both of us. Another one might think that, no, we should keep it together because that works for us too, for whatever reason it is. Neither is right or wrong. It all just depends on who you are as a couple. And but yeah, recognizing if there are differences, that's the first main step.
Yeah. So when it comes to, because I feel like this is kind of a debate or people question, and it's one of those things that I feel like we say all the time. It depends who you are and how you like to do things.
Which it does, of course.
But would you think it's important to keep your finances separate or combine them in terms of like bank accounts, investment accounts, that sort of stuff?
Oh, so when I was just saying like some relationships might have their own separate accounts, like that's one thing, but to not know what this person has, that's I think what maybe you're asking me. You couldn't. I wouldn't recommend anyone going about their relationship that way. If you just are completely in the dark about what your partner has or doesn't have, that's kind of what I'm getting at when I say financial success is having that tough conversation. Here's what I have. What do you have? And
because there's so many milestones in a relationship that you look to achieve together. Whether it's, I mean, obviously the wedding is a big financial commitment a lot of the times, not always, but buying a home you're going to be doing together. Putting your kids through college, depending on how much you're going to help them out there. These are big financial commitments, as well as, I mean, could cause some financial stress. So the importance of being on the same page is obviously very important.
So we've kind of been talking about couples and their bank accounts and their assets and things like that. One of the things that we haven't really touched on yet is life insurance, and who should have life insurance in the relationship. And honestly, I mean, in general, I like to think that both people, if you have a family and you have kids, both people should be having life insurance. Sometimes we have clients or people out there might think that if there's a husband that is like he makes the money and then there's a wife that stays at home, only one of them, the husband, needs life insurance because he's the one that you need to replace the income from. I feel like we have this conversation with plenty of clients that that's not the right way of going about it. You're really doing like a disservice almost to the wife who's at home taking care of the kids, doing whatever else she's doing. That is in in and of itself like a job, and you could technically replace that with a salary.
Yeah.
So that kind of conversation is also important, not just staying under the assumption that only one of us needs life insurance to replace one income.
And people might not know this unless they have kids, but the price tag on having multiple kids at a daycare or with a babysitter each and every day is very expensive. So like you said, that is having one of the spouses at home with the kids, again, is a job within itself and basically like an income because the amount of money you're saving.
The alternative is setting them to daycare and spending X amount of dollars a month. Right. So that is like in the same way, it's like an income that you would have to insure in case something happens and you have to replace it. So just having that conversation too and understanding that it's not one of us has to only have it. It's both usually.
Yeah. And that's just another way that you set up. You have this plan with this significant other like we've been talking about. And obviously the goal is financial success, having goals and things you want in the future and being on the same wavelength of leading towards those. But then it's the unexpected of if something happens to somebody. And I think we can all agree personally, if we were married with kids and something happened to you, you wouldn't want your wife to be like, well, now I got to get a new home. Now I got to do all this other stuff. You wouldn't want her life to change. It would be hard enough to have her live without you and be a single parent and do this. So it's like, it goes hand in hand of not everything is like, let's plan towards the best case scenario. We also need to make sure, and that's something I will be making sure when I have a family is like, I want to make sure my family is okay with no matter what happens in life. Let's say everything's going good. Okay, they're good. If everything crap hits the fan and the worst case scenario happens, they'll be good too. That's the point of planning.
Exactly. And that's why you have to have a conversation with your partner about this stuff. If you have life insurance, and that has a huge role in your overall financial plan, especially if you're married with kids. So it's all part of that initial discussion that needs to be had with your partner about finances.
100%. And we could go on for hours talking about the little intricacies and different topics that are important when it comes to, obviously, home purchasing is a huge financial commitment you make with a significant other, and just many other things we could talk about. We don't want to sit here forever and dive deep into these things.
Oh yeah, because it's almost like we don't even want to give specific advice on a home purchase because everyone with their partner will be different, in each one-off scenario. That's why the only blanket advice or suggestion that I'm making is that you actually just sit down and have that conversation with them so that okay, here's what we have as a unit, not just here's what Dylan Wepkenberg has and here's what Jordan Pahalik has, but together. So
it's as simple as if, like you said, I think the only thing that people should get out of this is sit down with your wife or husband and have a conversation because that's the only way to align things and make sure money and goals don't slip through the cracks and are not feasible anymore. Because the worst thing you can do is hide your finances or not talk about your finances, and money is a tough thing to maybe open up about. But we are sick of people using that as an excuse.
Right.
It's not a good one. It's important. So
it's got to be talked about.
Yeah, exactly. That pretty much wraps everything up for episode 14 of the Integrity IPG podcast. Thank you guys for listening in, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Securities offered through the ON Equity Sales Company, member FINRA/SIPC. One Financial Way, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45242, 513-794-6794. Investment advisory services offered through ON Investment Management Company.